Hey guys, it's Dragonfire1000 here. Now you'll notice that this video looks a little bit visually different because I have a blue border around here. This is just kind of to help distract from the crappy video quality of my laptop's camera. But I needed to make an update video because some things have changed that have been for the better. And I wanted to kind of have an update video as to where things have been because it's been probably about 2 weeks since I made that video, if not more. And the scenarios, well, the whole situation's looking more positive than it was since that time. So I figured I'd give you guys the scoop on where things are at. And before I get into the update video, I want to thank all those of you who have commented on what my situation, regardless if it was Discord or on here. I want to thank you sincerely for being great supports and offering friendly condolences, comfort in my trying times. It's really nice, and I really sincerely appreciate it from the bottom of my heart that a lot of you who don't even know me as a person are willing to give me the time of day to help me feel a little bit better about things. And I know a lot of you expressed that you feel kind of a bit helpless in the situation, but you'll be pleased to know that your words, your kind words, have helped me get through a lot. So you really helped, and I sincerely appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Now, with that out of the way, let's get into what's been going on with the family life, because this is going to get a little bit into the story territory, and I will post a timestamp in the description below if you don't want to hear the whole story of what's going on, then get right to the YouTube channel stuff. So, let's start with a little bit of story time. Yay! I know, the enthusiasm's high, isn't it? But, you know, maybe by me sharing my story here, this might help people feel a little bit more empowered. I don't know. But, let's get into it. So, I've been taking chemical technology for the past 4 years. And I'm into, well, at where it stands is that I was sitting to my last half of my final semester with Chemtech. And the road to it has been pretty rough this last few months. I've learned that I failed my organic chemistry because my lab portion did not go well. And there was also my practicum situation, which I'll get into a little bit more. So there was that. There was also a situation where my car had finally kicked the bucket in a very, very bad place of all times because it was right on the main drag of the city. And I almost got in an accident because the car failed at the worst possible time. So I was in a bit of a dire straits with that. And thankfully, insurance covered it, and I was able to get into a new 2010 Volvo XC60, which I have been more than happy to own, and I'm just very proud of it now. And it's been a good, reliable, solid vehicle. Some great Scandinavian technology, I'll sell you. But I've been happy with that. I've been blessed, I should say, with that, because I ended up getting more than what I paid for that vehicle initially and got something much more nicer, so I was pretty happy about that. So there was that happened, and then there was a little bit of negative situations and a lot of family tension that occurred during Christmas, which kind of compounded there, and I don't know if this kind of contributed to another situation, which I'll also get into detail with, family-wise anyway. But there was also that kind of stressed me out, and then this situation, which I'm going to get into detail now. So, if you guys have been following my YouTube channel long enough, you'd know that I had went on practicum for my chemical technology program in January. And basically what a practicum is basically a work placement where you don't get paid, but you kind of learn to work in that kind of environment in which the job's at. And then from there, you would make a research project detailing what you were supposed to do on that project, what your findings were, and so on and so forth. Basically, it's like writing a research paper, essentially, except it's not really, well, it's kind of research, in a way, yeah, I guess you could call it that. So you're basically given this little project to do at a certain place and you were tasked with carrying out the experiment. And I was a little bit confused with doing this because I wasn't sure if I would be the one formulating the experiment or if I was going to be given the things to do and then carry out the experiment. So that kind of actually led into some little bit of trouble with my practicum. Not in a bad career sense, but more like understanding kind of sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but there was that. And it was a little rough the first couple of weeks because I had to learn a few work skills I've never learned before, like learning what is workplace appropriate and what's not, because I never really got that social polish before. But the leader of that building, or the lab lead of that place, was actually very good at giving some constructive criticism and some very specific situations in which I can kind of put myself into and understand the situation better. So that was really nice, and I was able to actually improve on that based on that, and take the positive and negative criticism very well. And I improved on that pretty quick. And then I was getting along pretty good with the cohorts there. Like, I got along, I joked with a lot of people and teased them kind of thing, and like I felt like I kind of knew them as a family. Like, there was that really nice family atmosphere, and it was nice. It was very nice. But the problem that I faced was actually operating the ICP spectrophotometer. And in very basic layman's terms, it's basically this big fancy boxy instrument that will measure how much metals are in a solution, and it basically tells that by a number of metal ions, as they're called, that light up in this digital camera frame at one instance. That's how it measures your concentration in parts per million, or if it's sensitive enough, parts per billion. And basically parts per million billion is, well, parts per million is milligrams a liter, so milligrams of calcium in water, blah blah blah. But I was having troubles kind of operating this instrument. Like, I've used it before in a school setting, but we really only get 4 times to use it. And I was not the best at using the instrument, but I didn't operate to the point where I broke it. It was just that it was, the software was different in the practicum setting compared to actually in the school setting. So that kind of tripped me up a bit, and I was kind of like an old timer trying to learn to use a computer for the very first time. And I was scared because this instrument's worth more than my car, okay? It's like worth at least $10,000-$20,000. So I was kind of like, ooh, I'm so scared to use this. I don't want to break anything. So that kind of made things a little tough, and they noticed right away that I was a little bit slow to learn this equipment, and I never really did get to use it all the way, which really sucked. But I got to use everything else, and everything else kind of fell into place. It was pretty easy to do, like weighing out soils and putting this amount of liquid inside these Erlenmeyer flasks and blah, blah, blah. That part wasn't hard. It was just actually using the instrument used to analyze it that I was having a little bit of problems with. And they recognized that, and that kind of made me a little bit weary that I might fail my practicum. So a month passes by. I finished my practicum. I'm heading back into the school, doing my courses, and I'm set to do a communications course, the project course, and then the physical chemistry. And then I get an email saying that I am to meet with the program head and my practicum advisor to discuss if I passed or failed. So fast forward to that meeting. I call in, I'm like, hey, I'm here for this meeting, blah, blah, blah. The program head lets me in, and my practicum advisor's sitting there, and I ask him, I say, hey, like, how did I do on my practicum? And he gave me the stiff upper lip, like, and I'm like, ooh, that's not good. So I sat down, and to distract from the possible lingering doom I had, I kind of just started small talking, telling him about my situations going on, about the cold weather we had. We had like minus 47 weather, blah, 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 blah. And, yeah. We wait until my disability counselor comes in, because she's my support person to help me with these kind of big situations. So she finally sits down, and the program head slaps his paper on the desk and says, like, Okay, so I have some bad news for you. You failed your practicum. And instantly, I was devastated. I was like, oh no. I was worried about this. I had a feeling this is where I was going. And I was just totally in doom and gloom and just dissatisfied with what happened. And I was like, I was trying to hold back tears, and I was just dead inside face right there. And I'm just in disbelief, and I'm like, no. The teacher, or the program head, I'm just sitting in dead silence. The program head's talking, and she's like, well, the employer was actually very honest and very fair about your review, and basically they said the same thing that we have observed with your performance inside the classroom. And given this, they did have a lot of good things to say about you. And if you would like to, feel free to look through this practicum review sheet. So I look through it, and I'm flipping through, check marks all around, check mark, following things, and they said, one of the comments they made was that I had really good book smart skills. And I took negative and positive feedback very well and improved on it very fast. Something that was very rare to find in practicum students. They said it was a very rare talent I had, and gave me props for that, which was really nice in this bitter situation. And they also said that I really worked well with other coworkers and was great joy to be around, which was really nice to hear from someone who I've never met until recently. But I read the last page regarding technical skills, and this is where the big X comes in. Technical skills weren't up to the speed that a chemical technologist should have at this level. Had problems understanding the practicum objectives, suggested things that were always tried and true, and had problems operating the ICP instrument. And I was like, I knew it. I knew that was going to be it. So I'm just sitting there dead in silence, just starting to cry. Like, I'm bawling and I'm tearing up. My eyes are just bloodshot red. I'm getting rashes around my eye sockets just from all the crying, and I'm just devastated. And I don't know what to do. The program head says, okay, so this is where this puts you in a situation. Because you failed your practicum, you will have to be withdrawn from your Project 289, and you'll have to be withdrawn out of communications because these are related to the practicum project, which leaves you with only the physical chemistry. This will make you ineligible for student loans. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm totally in shock. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. And she says to me, well, there's a few options you can do. You can decide to continue with physical chemistry and do the rest of the courses in 4 months in the following year, so 2021. And we can accommodate you and make your practicum in-house so that you could still do your organic chemistry you failed in the last semester, because now organic chemistry is a first-year course. And I'm like, that's a thought. That's a possibility. She said the other option was just to do everything all in one go in 4 months, if I still decide to take it. And the third option was to consider another field. Because they threw me this question that said, is this course a right fit for you? Do you think you can do it? And I was like, yes, I have full confidence that I can do it. Like, I'll still stay in physical chemistry and see if I can improve my practical skills. My program head kind of just stops for a bit and says, well, the thing is in physical chemistry, you're only doing 4 labs. How many labs have you done? And I said, well, too many to count. And she says, well, we've been seeing this same trend for the last 4 years, and it's not really changed. One thing we've noticed is that you can have some really good days but most of the days you're just kind of getting by. And it's quite inconsistent. And if you do decide to pursue this diploma still, the question is not going to be about completing it, it's going to be about if you are employable, or if you can hold down a job. And this made me just kind of like think. And I'm just sitting there, not knowing what to do. I'm at my lowest point, just thinking, what the heck, where the heck am I going to go? And I said, well, you know, this is the second course I went through where it's gone nowhere. And if I pull out now, where is this $50,000 going to go? It's a waste of my money. It's a waste of my time. So what's another $30,000? And she says, well, another $30,000 is a lot, and you're going to put more in debt. And I said, well, I'm already in debt, so what's the point? And she says, well, that's the thing, is that it's more expensive to pay down a loan that's $70,000 compared to $50,000, which is already quite far. She said, like, that's the question you got to pose to yourself. And I'm just like, I'm totally destroyed at this point, and I don't know what to do. And it's like, I've been thrown a harsh realization, and I'm still just trying to push through and be like, I still want to do it. What's the point? And then my support person comes in and says, well, the thing is they're saying is that your skills are not improving. They're the same as what they were 2 years ago. So, you don't have to make the decision right now. So think about it for a bit. This is a big decision to make. And I'm still crying, I'm bawling, I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore, kind of thing, and just lost. So then my support person says, okay, are you ready to go? Like, do you want to come and talk in my office? And I said, yeah. I'm just talking between my crying eyes, and just like, yeah, I really need to. And boy, I was so low there. I was saying crazy things, and my support person's like, you know, that's crazy. Don't talk like that, because that's going to put you in a bad spot. And I'm just like, well, I don't know what to do anymore. I just, you know, I thought this was a thing for me. I was so interested, and I can't even frickin' do it. So she talked to me, and she's like, okay, Miranda. So we got some things that were said good about you. So let's try and see if we can find a course that matches with these good things that were said about you in this practicum. And I was so in the dark that I probably wasn't even hearing half the things I said. And I was like, okay, sure. So she set up another appointment for Monday the following day. And she said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go and we're going to figure out some career opportunities for you and see if there's something that could better fit you. Because you've been hearing this time and time again, that this program may not be a fit for you. So maybe it might be time to try something else and look at other options. You could still keep staying in phys chem, but we could still look at other options too. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. So the Monday comes, and I talk to her again, and then the career counselor comes in. And a few ideas were thrown around. One of them was medical reprocessing technician, which is basically a medical equipment sanitizer, per se. And I said, yeah, I've thought about that program before, too, when I was thrown this question, but the only problem is I gotta jump through loops because I gotta, 1, get my CPR, which will cost me out of pocket, and 2, I gotta get immunized. And I will have to be immunized quite regularly, working in the healthcare field. I had interest in healthcare, but I wasn't a fan of jumping through those loops. So then the career counselor jumps in and says, why don't we try parts management technician? And I said, well, I looked into that, but I don't know if I could do that because I'm not mechanically apt at this. And he said, well, the thing is that half of these people that go into the course have never pulled a wrench in their life, and the other half are gearheads, and they still have a pretty good passing rate. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And then they said the other thing is that this parts management course, the job opportunities for this is very good because there's always a demand in Saskatchewan for agricultural and equipment. because Saskatchewan is a very farm-based, resource-based province. And so, in farms, you're always going to need parts. And given that also agricultural was a big thing, there was also a lot of opportunity to be rural, which is actually one of my goals, is to live in a more rural community, because I'm not a city goer by any means. I'm not a fan of it. So I was like, okay, piqued my interest. So then I phoned my dad up, and I'm like, hey, Dad, so I've got my career counselor, and I've got my counselor on the line. They're suggesting for me to do parts management technician. What do you think? And he's like, oh yeah, that's not too bad. And I said, yeah, so this is what they said. Like, there's good opportunity for it in the rural field, and he says it pays good. And my dad says, yeah, no, they're paying pretty good. The place I work at, they could give $40 an hour. And I'm like, And he says, yeah, that could be actually a good job for you. I haven't even thought of that. And the one thing I can give my dad credit for is knowing how well I work and how I function for a lot of things. That's the one thing my dad's really good at knowing about me. But I guess he has spent like freaking darn near 27 years dealing with me, so of course he's going to know that. But that's always something I give my dad credit for. And I'm like, so you think it's a good job then? He's like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And then my program head is telling my dad about all these different opportunities I have, being that I'm a female with an intellectual disability, all these different grants I could get. And my dad's like, no, that actually sounds like a really good thing. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And then my dad starts throwing around some technical terms and tossing around, and like he knows it. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that works, because my dad's a heavy-duty mechanic, a red seal at that, so he'd be able to help me out with this kind of thing and be a good tutor. All right, cool. He would be able to help me out with this thing. So then after that, the career counselor says, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a meeting with the program head to talk further about this and discuss some of the opportunities with it. So roll around to Monday, and I meet up with the career counselor, and we go over to the parts management technician office. And we start talking to him and saying, hey, okay, here's the situation, this is where we're at, these are the things that the practicum has given me, what do you think? And he's like, yeah, this is what this course entails. Most of it's just dealing with numbers, computers, customers, and memorization. There's very little mechanical stuff actually involved other than just knowing what things do and just a general basic background knowledge of it. And I'm like, okay. And he said, yes, there's actually a lot of grants for this, and there's a lot of females that are in demand for this program because he said that typically the females have a higher attention to detail than males, and this would be a perfect career. And it's so high in demand, I could probably get hired as soon as I got a certificate for it. So I'm like, ooh, that's pretty good. Then he goes on to say that even while you're taking the course, you could actually get hired for that job. And I was like, ooh, wow. And he said, yep, I've got connections all throughout Saskatchewan that could help you get a job like that. And we got people from around the city here, and we got people from rurally, and they get hired pretty darn quick because this is always a job in demand. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, this sounds really good. And if that wasn't already good news, he says, oh yeah, there's also one other thing. The federal government's introduced this thing where people that are either women, those disabled, or those that are Aboriginal or international could get into this program and do it for only 3 months, not paying a single tuition fee other than the $600 seat fee. And I would be done in 3 months. So I would start in May and be done in August. And I'm like, whoa. Sign me up. So after that and a bunch of other good news about the program, I signed up for it, signed the papers, and lo and behold, not too long after that, I got accepted in the program, paid my seat fee, and away I went. So now I'm slated to start that program starting in May. And let's just say that's the best news I ever heard, and I'm pretty optimistic for where my future's going to go. And I'm really hoping that eventually I can get to my final goal of living in a rural place. So that will be awesome. And I'm pretty stoked. So that's some good news there. And that is basically the thing that was really the heaviest weighing and really was hard on me in the last while, aside from another thing. The other thing is basically just a personal family matter that's been going on, and how do I go into this without getting into too much detail? But it's a bit of a sensitive topic, so details are going to be spread very thin on this, but essentially what's going on is there's a dynamic going on in the family that's has been a little bit hard on not only me, but one of my relatives and other people, and it's just kind of been a bit of a ripple effect and really affected me. And it's still an ongoing thing. That's why I'm keeping the details very succinct here, but it's needless to say there's something going on with someone that they're not a horrible person. It's just they're going through a lot of things and they've kind of accidentally hurt people. And I don't want to say this like it's their fault, because who knows? This person might be going through some serious things and they're just trying to shut out the people, but it's been really hard, and I've been trying to stay strong with things and trying to stay pretty, silent on it. I got vocal about it once, and there was a big confrontation, which was really hard to deal with, and it's still a very messy business. So that's all I'm going to really say about it, but needless to say that the people involved are not bad people. None of them are. It's just that I don't know what spurred the situation to get hairy as it did, but all I'm just hoping is that things get the best. And I harbor no ill will to the people that are in the effect of this. I'm just hoping for the best, and that nobody's hurt permanently because of this. So we'll see where it goes. It's just a matter of a waiting game. And I told the person who was really affected by this to just lie low and let time see where things go and just work towards getting everything else in their own life sorted out. So we'll see. I've talked with other family members about it that I know I can trust with this situation, and so I'm glad that they're being there to help in a very sensitive time. So we'll see how that goes. And with that, now I get on to the meat of the matter in regards to the channel stuff. And if you listen to the whole previous backstory of what's going on, I again want to thank you guys all for that patience. So channel-wise, I know you guys, I keep bringing this up on the odd time, but I know you guys want to see the Gastroblaster Sans backstory. And I recently went and kind of roleplayed a few things in my head about how I want the story to go. And I've realized that this Gastroblaster Sans backstory is going to be a bigger animal than I thought it would be. And I realized that I'm going to have to take a few shortcuts on this, so there's the part of the animation I've done animation already to the point leading up to the scenario that causes the backstory, or at least leads up to it. But I haven't really gotten the meat and potatoes as to why Sans got in that situation. And so I'm thinking I'm going to go with a bit of a narrative, similar to how the Undertale game starts out, with just still images and then a narrative, and then go from there. And like I said, I have role-played the ideas, but this is an actual story that I want to try and see through it all, and I'm doing a lot of planning that I usually wouldn't do in my stories. Because the problem I've had with making stories is that I would get to the middle of them, and then it'd be like, well, I don't like how this is sounding, because now it's just sounding cliche, or I'm making the characters sound too angsty, or too static. So I'm really going out of my way here to make sure that this animation story does not seem like a cliche or crappy. So, I am wanting to get this done, and I will certainly do it. How I'm going to finish it, well, that's going to be a time will tell scenario. But I will do it. I will commit myself to that promise to finish that by whatever means possible. It's just that it's not... I don't have motivation to work on it as a direct thing. It's more of a passive work-on project kind of thing. But it is getting worked on. It's just I'm also doing other projects foremost over this. And one of those is a comic dub Mr. Amazing VA did of one of Grinning Kitten's comics that was with Error finding Ink's erotica. You guys probably have already seen it. It's the sneaky peeky one, Ink's dirty little secret. Just to let you know, that animation's not final. There are some differences between that, so there might be a few little detailed surprises. There may not. Who knows? But I am happy to say that it's halfway done finalization. I've got another 400 frames approximately to work on, and then it's finished. So I'm hoping to get it done no later than maybe the second week in March. It may be done sooner than that. So pretty happy about that. There is also one other project that I'm doing. It's a collaboration with Spoony Bard, and it's called, what did I call it now? Too Hot to Handle, I think, or something like that. But that project's kind of been evolving, because we originally started out with this very simplistic idea, and then Spoony Bard, being the creative boy he is, gave me some really good ideas to make the story even more profound and stupid. And there are a few little cameos we're going to throw in there too, so it's going to be a really fun thing to do, and we're ambitious about it. But again, that one's kind of a more off and on side project, but I'd say it'd probably get done faster than the Gaster Blaster Sans backstory. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, but again, we're going to see how that goes. You know, just play things out by ear. So that's the story with that, in terms of projects. Now, in terms for the other things in the channel, we are almost reaching 10,000 subscribers, and I just want to say I'm like amazed that I'm still going on strong. I'm not peaking and now further deteriorating, so I'm glad to see that. And I want to show you guys the effects of your support from watching and playing my videos and sharing it. So you see this little thing right here? This is my Surface Slim Pen, and this thing costs $200. But thanks to this little upgrade and your support from watching the videos and the ad revenue I've gotten, I've been able to make this upgrade and make my animations a lot more fun to make and make them faster to make as well. So it's because of you guys sharing I was able to afford this bloody thing, because it's not cheap. So thank you. I mean, I gotta say, thank you guys all for watching, and I'm so glad that you guys are still offering support in that way when you cannot offer financial support directly. So this here is what you guys have helped me attribute, and as well as the Surface Pro 6 upgrade. So thank you guys so much. Like, I couldn't have done this without your guys' help. So thank you so much. It really means a lot. And I'm genuinely saying that. So I just wanted you guys to know the effects of you guys supporting my content. Because if I didn't, I'd be stuck with this thing, and this thing has a wiggly nib. So it's made me undo a lot of strokes that I could have otherwise had perfect the first time. And I'm not saying the Surface Pen's bad, but it's just the nib's gotten loose from sitting in my bag and everything, and it's just not working as good as it should be. It still works, but not as good as that other pen. So that's the effect of your guys' contributions to sharing my work. I really appreciate it. The other announcement I have is regarding a new Discord channel I've made. And I've opened this up occasionally into my community tabs, and I'm thinking I might do another open up before the 10,000 subscriber milestone. But when the 10,000 subscriber milestone comes up, I will be trying to do another kind of special thing for that milestone, and this is applicable to new and returning subscribers that have not claimed the first cure ban or request. So when that 10,000 subscriber milestone comes up, I'm going to be opening my Discord for not just 48 hours, it's going to be a whole week that you can join. Now, what is my Discord? My Discord is an art-based Discord. So that way, you know, if you lost interest in Undertale, you can still do other things. It's fully open to anybody to play, get into. You know, even if your interest is like Bendy or Sally Face or whatever it is, any kind of art, we accept it, you know, given that it's, you know, tasteful, I guess, is, it's a pretty open Discord. We have I'm trying to do some planning about doing events. We just recently had a movie night last week, and it was a lot of fun. We watched Coco, we made some silly little jokes, and I got to know a lot more subscribers based on that little event. It was really fun. So I'm hoping to expand that Discord even further, and after this video, I am going to put in my community tab about opening it again for another 48 hours. I'll also drop it in the link down below. But yeah, once 48 hours is up, that link's going to be gone or otherwise expired. So you won't be able to join my Discord until the 10,000 subscriber milestone. So just be aware of that, just in case. But I'm hoping to get some more people in there, and I'm hoping to get a little bit more activity going, because it is a small Discord. I have less than 50 people on there. So if we can get some more people going in there and interacting, we've got the dank meme bot, and we'll probably implement more bots in the future. We're still small, but we're going to work some things out. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping things go well. We also have a collab board, so if you're working on an animation project yourself and you want people to collaborate, you can throw it up in the collab board, and away you go. So I'm hoping to start building that Discord up and getting some real activity going there. I'm pretty excited. But that's all I have for updates today, so thank you guys all for watching, and thanks to those of you who have watched through the whole entire video. Really appreciate your patience there. So I will see you all in the next one. See ya!